Just give me a thumbs up. Be live, sorry, be live. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year all. Can we please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Dr. Mark Burris. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Sayville. I'm really happy to be here tonight to recognize all of the students. And before we begin, I want to welcome our music group over here on the right. We have an introductory to guitar class who just started for the first time in Sayville this year. And we are really excited about the fact that this is their first public performance. So high school guitarists, please take it away. Let's have one more. Let's have one more hand for our guitar class. That's first and foremost. Having tried the guitar, that's not easy to do in just 4 months. Good done? Yep. Off to a wonderful start, aren't they, right? First item on our agenda tonight, and again, I guess this is one of the special things about being a board member. This is probably one of the best things that we get to do is being a board member, is student citations. And tonight we're going to have Dr. Ryan Cox. Dr. Cox. Oh, why is that going away? Sayville Rising. Pay no attention to Amanda Hunter. While that's being fixed, I just want to take a moment to thank Dr. Cox. Since joining Sayville, he's done a wonderful job organizing our athletic programs. I also want to take a moment to look around the room and say, wow, what an amazing community where we can come together and celebrate so many student athletes. So let's give a big round of applause for our student athletes. It's been an absolute pleasure these first 6 months getting to know all of you, and I now introduce Dr. Cox, who will be doing our awards. It's up.
I have some really cool slides, so I want to make sure you see them.
This is where you have to try to fill in with something. Who's gonna win the Giant game this weekend? Okay.
All right, Dr. Cox, take it away.
Right, now we're up and running. First of all, I want to thank everyone on the Board of Education, our administrators, most of the teachers, student athletes, and community for your unwavering commitment to our program. For us to be represented here tonight, athletics at the January Board of Education meeting, to fill the house means that we had a lot of success in the fall. So congratulations to all of our parents, our student athletes, and our coaches, and our entire community. Like I said, we had an exceptional fall season. We'd like to quickly review our fall season by team, all of our teams, followed by the recognition of our county, Long Island, and state championship teams. After we recognize some of our team accomplishments, we'll highlight some of our student athletes who have received recognition as all Long Island and all state recipients this fall season. So without further ado, next slide. We'll go through very quickly. So very proud of all of our teams here in Sayville. Our boys varsity soccer team took second place in League 4, was 8-2 playoff qualifier, and also the NISPA Scholar Athlete team. That would be a trend tonight. From 5-2 with very tough League 3, there was a playoff qualifier, and also a NISPA Scholar Athlete team. Girls, varsity swimming and diving, our Sayville blue team, both combined teams made a good point. They were undefeated in League 3, which was a 4-0 record. They were League 3 champions. They're also League 3 tournament champions and a NISPA Scholar Athlete team. Again, here we go. Girls varsity tennis, again, undefeated, 8-2, 11-0, League 2 champions. They were Section 11 quarterfinalists and a NISPA Scholar Athlete team. Large golf, undefeated, 10-0 League 5 champions, also Section 11 team semifinalists. They were one stroke off of making it to the county championship over Comp Squad. Next time we'll get them. We have a very young women's volleyball team. They had a 2-12 record, but they were also a NISPA Scholar Athlete team. We're going to come quick to 4 record this year, and also the NISPA Scholar Athlete team. Varsity field hockey, 6-9 record in the NISPA Scholar Athlete team. Everybody like that ring? That's pretty cool, right? Varsity football, before I pull up the roster. Undefeated, 12-0 in Division 3, Division 3 champions, Division 3 county champions, Class 3 Long Island champions for the 7th time in the history of Sayville football. They were Rutgers Trophy champions for the 5th time, and also a NISPA Scholar Athlete team. I will call up our football team. I will just call up the players. We can hold your applause to the end, but I'm asking for our football players, please come up to Mr. Cantalowski. They're going to make their way right up the stage, and we have a backdrop on the projector screen that we're going to use for you in the background. So here we go. Vincent Bonfante, Jeremy Brett, Owen Burke, Joseph Byrne, Michael Caparazzo, Evan Harmon, David Christensen, Patrick Cohn, Ethan Cohen, Anthony Contaldi, Liam Gallagher, Don Francine, Landon Garrett, Thomas Jolio, Luke Hanson, Maypool Fernandez, Liam Higgins, Daniel Callahan, Noah DeVore, Kamari Jackson, Mitchell Kolar, Ryan Lenian, Dominic Materi, Kyle Malone, Jacob McCabe, Michael McGinnis, Kyle Messina, Michael Milo, Anthony Morioni, Jackson Neugebauer, Griffith Perez, Benjamin Pierce, Michael Sands, Benjamin Sands, Kevin Scheibe, Jake Triptree, Zachary Watson, and Nathan Wyatt. Congratulations to our players.
And then everyone else smiling behind me.
I would like to also call for group of young here. Patrick O'Connor, Robert Hott, Fred Glader, Zach Gallo, Matthew Starr, and Kevin Coleman. If you are here,
I get a little closer to getting in. Guys, the front, we can just come to the front, step forward. Everyone else back in the back. All right. Over here.
Wait.
Oh. Wait.
Don't worry, more than that, I'll drop you guys out.
Drop me out.
Good.
Okay, thank you guys. Good job. Everyone.
You should be up there.
Real quick, before you guys play, I just want to say, as a former Sayville football player and fan, I didn't get to as many games as I wanted to. I did see the last two games, there's no talent. And I gotta say, as a former varsity football coach, I'm still coaching, I'm still involved in the sport. And as a community member, as a coach, as a parent, it was joyful watching you, especially in the Long Island Challenge. You dominated in every phase. It was a testament to your brotherhood, the love you guys have for each other, the love that the coaches have for you, how well the coaches work well together. I mean, it was one of the best performances of the Sayville football team that I've seen in my life. It's really a testament to you guys and the parents. You know how much you put into it too, and how you bleed with your kids and tears and it's up and down. It was just an amazing effort. So I just wanted to share.
I just want to congratulate you, and I want to say I've seen the movie.
Good job, great.
They're good, they're very good.
all right, we have another ring to give out at some point in the future. And that is for our 2022 varsity girls cross country team. This team the opportunity to be around the school a lot this fall and it's a special group. Undefeated League 6 champions, 6-0, Suffolk County Class B champions, a 3-peat, and no pressure, but looking for a 14 next year. Suffolk County overall team champions, and according to Coach Duffy, first time in Sayville history that we have been overall team champions, and not to be outviewed, Class B New York State champions. the cross-country team, and a NISP Scholar Athlete team. So congratulations. And a great looking ring. First cross country. Melanie Dalmiller, Carly Brady, Ava Cotola, Mariana Duffy, Rachel Frawley, Isabella Farina, Olivia Farina, Madeline Griffin, Ella Holt, Megan Lankowitz, Maddie McGillough, Catherine Simovich, Carly Striney, Taylor Petepsky, Sienna Turner, Delaney Walters, and head coach Tom Duffy.
Yeah, really. Yeah. You know what, we think of there, it might be easier.
No, no problem. You're not gonna get it going.
I'll just read aloud the citation, from the Board of Education for being a member of the 2022 varsity girls cross country team, which became League Six champion, back-to-back Suffolk County country champion, overall Suffolk County champion, that's the year state, we congratulate you on your achievements and commend your commitment to physical fitness sportsmanship for Suffolk County. Congratulations.
Varsity Girls Volleyball, what an incredible ride. Undefeated League Six champions, they were 17-0 overall in league and non-league. Suffolk County, Class 8 champions for the first time in the history of Sayville. 20-1 overall. This was Scholar Athlete team, and I believe they only lost one set in the entire regular season. That's incredible. And most of us are coming back, so no pressure, but everything is yours next year. Congratulations. And here's our roster. Lily Combs, Mia D. Simone, Natalie Jones, Emma Law, Isabella Lundquist, Elise Marino, Jessica Menz, Mackenzie Muscarello, Hayden Proscia, Morgan Lee, Cameron Restivo, Trinity Restributo, Faith Rogan, Kristen Sudan, and Adria Vargas. Head coach. And the teaching coming back to them.
I think you slide a little bit over towards the middle. Slide a little that way.
Walk you back up.
All right, smile. And pivot.
So the Board of Education is honored to recognize the ladies tonight for their amazing job in school season. In our health support, we're so proud of them. If anyone hasn't been to the game, do not know what they're missing. It is so exciting, and we just couldn't be proud of them. So congratulations. Without further ado, the Board of Education would like to recognize these young ladies for being members of the varsity girls volleyball team, which became League 6 champions and Class 8 Suffolk County champions. We congratulate you on your achievements and commend your commitment for physical fitness and sportsmanship, which has helped you to earn this award.
Well, purposely picked this slide up because all 11 of our varsity teams were scholar athlete teams. So not only do we have on the field support, so we have grabs, but we do it in the classroom. Congratulations to all of our student athletes on that accomplishment. Okay, we'd like to recognize some of our individuals who received the Long Island State honors this year. Our first athlete from the boys soccer team, All State, Owen Burke.
Why don't we come over here?
Yeah.
Bring that down.
Yep.
The Sayville Board of Education is pleased to present the certification of recognition to Owen Burke for receiving all state and varsity boys soccer. Congratulate you on your achievements and commend your commitment to physical fitness and sportsmanship, which has helped you earn this award.
Put it in front of me.
It's Steve.
I'd like to call up our head varsity soccer coach, Corey Santangelo. Come on up. Girls swimming and diving, I want to thank Coach Mendez because for being here. I want to send that picture at the end, please. All state in the 100-meter fly, the 200-meter medley relay, which took 5th in New York State and we're on the podium, and a NISPA Scholar Athlete finalist, Jordan Carpentieri.
We congratulate your commitment to physical fitness and sportsmanship, which has helped you earn this award.
All state in the 100-meter fly, the 200-meter freestyle relay, the 200-meter medley relay, which again took 5th New York State, and a NISPA Scholar Athlete finalist, Emma Haas. All state in the 200-meter freestyle relay, the 200-meter medley relay, which took 5th in New York State, and a New York State qualifier in the 200-meter individual medley, Megan Brady. All state in the 200-meter freestyle relay, Shannon Squeezy. She's a phantom. Good luck. All state in 200-meter freestyle relay and the 200-meter medley relay, which again to 5th New York State, Laura Woody.
I'd just like to say, as someone who's really blown paddle, that I appreciate your athleticism and the amount of commitment it takes to accomplish what you have. And I love that our Sayville and Bayport communities can come together and work together for a great win. Thank you.
Right, 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 right.
Football recipients tonight. Just came out yesterday. All state honorable mention, Joseph Byrne. All states honorable mention, Anthony Contaldi. Second team All Island, third team All State, Anthony Morioni. Second team All Island, second team All State, Jake Triptree. Pallotta Award finalist, which goes to the best linebacker in Suffolk County, second team All Long Island, and second team All State, Benjamin Sands.
Congrats.
Division 3, most valuable player, first team All Long Island, first team All State, Kyle Messina.
Congrats, Paul.
Call our coaches up, please, for the picture.
Single board that is like issue to all of you on that. For majority for the all state team on all different levels. We congratulate you guys on the just thank you. You know, it doesn't start in August, it's the last you guys are in first, second grade, EAL program, the middle school, high school, that.
Our girls cross country team, all state, Isabella Farina. All state, Megan Blankowitz. Class B, Suffolk County champion, all Long Island, all state, all federations, and all region, Mulaney Bauman.
What's up?
Girls volleyball, second team all Long Island, Adria Vargas. Okay. First team, all Long Island, all state, Newsday, Long Island Girls Volleyball Player of the Year, and recently nominated for Gatorade New York State Girls Volleyball Player of the Year, Morgan Reese. I'm super honored to hand these next three awards out, because they spent a tremendous amount of time, all of our coaches spent a tremendous amount of time away from their families, to help our kids. And certainly these three individuals are very well deserving of these awards and should be recognized. Suffolk County, also, Football Coach of the Year, Reed Sands. Doesn't mean I'm- Suffolk County Girls Volleyball Coach of the Year, Deborah Ursa. And Suffolk County Girls Cross Country Coach of the Year and Newsday Long Island Coach of the Year, Tom Duffy. We beat me to the front. I want to see how loud we can hear. Another round of applause for our full student athletes and coaches and our teams this fall. Congratulations. I'd also like to demand and applaud all of our student athletes who received post-elite honors. A list of those student athletes, the sports, and their accolades are on our website, so if you want to take a look. So right now, what I'd like to do is, we had several of our student athletes attend the first ever Section 11 Student Leadership Conference. You can see behind me here, it was hosted by Senator Richards High School on December 16th. We had Mia D. Simone, Madeline McKillop, and Jackson Neugebauer attended this leadership conference on behalf of our athletic program, along with Ms. Whitman Cahill, one of our phys ed teachers. They went out for the day. They worked with other student athletes from across Suffolk County. They talked about leadership, character, mental health. They talked about sportsmanship. They watched presenters. And it also fostered a lot of student-athlete collaboration, which I think is really important. And they got to work with students from all across Suffolk County. So next slide just shows a little bit of the conference itself. We had some really quality speakers. Next slide. And you can see some of our student athletes, Mia, Jackson, and Addie, working with different tables throughout the day, working with other student athletes. Next slide. And there they are. What I'd like to do is and I met with our student athletes this week, I just would like them to come up and very briefly share their experience. So Mia, Jackson, and Maddie, come on.
So we'd like to thank Ms. Whitman Cahill and for providing us this opportunity. Throughout the presentations and workshops, we learned how to presentations and workshops, we learned to take initiative and be positive role models on and off the field, as well as in and outside of the classrooms. Personally, my favorite workshop was game changers because it helped us with
game changers because it helped us with setting goals and achieving them as student athletes. So, yeah. And thank you guys for running us on this amazing competition.
I would have to say the ability to influence my peers and teammates definitely helped me most in the conference. One thing that one of the speakers said about this was influence your teammates not only on the field, but also in the classroom and in life in general. Being the best in the field doesn't always mean the best.
Something I like in companies is that I make it able to honest with athletes from different schools or online, and this allows us to get to know people, be able to communicate that with different speakers who are throughout better. And we were able to speak away that if you're struggling as a student athlete, that there are other people help including your friends, family, and coaches, and that we should be a third reach out. So once again, I'd like to thank Mrs. Susan, Taylor, and Dr. Fox for talking.
Things like that help me because, we take our student athletes on the field, they're busy, we provide a leadership conference, and then empower them to come back and provide that energy leadership to the rest of our peers, or our colleagues for that matter, and certainly wonderful job, it's great, and I really appreciate you even considering going out there for that conference. So with that said, I want to thank the board and our executive team, Dr. Ferris, Superintendent, for giving me an opportunity to stand here and celebrate our full season. And I wish everybody a wonderful rest of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll take this moment to thank all of you. We're very proud of you, but one of the things you noticed was all of us, every single team, scholar athlete team. So I know the first thing you want to do right now is rush home and study for
I
tomorrow.
want to say something.
And also the board president wants to speak as well.
This is a testament of who we are and what we do. We have great teams, we have great coaches, we have a great staff, but most of all, I think we really have a great community who comes together in these types of events. Congratulations to all the students for your hard work and dedication to your sport, and congratulations to our coach for doing such a great job and coaching such great athletes for our community. Thank you.
So we'd like to stay for the remainder of our board meeting. We'll be doing some really exciting work with our instructional programs, our budgeting for next year, as well as hearing from students about their student experiences in the classroom. Please stay. If you have things you have to do, you may certainly duck out at this time, but if you don't leave right now, you're stuck for the next hour.
Oh, there's our track team. Great job. I think we need a bigger backup.
What is that one? Circumstances? Oh, but the legislature decision not to put forward a bill to mandate the
Agenda tonight is correspondence. I don't see that we received any correspondence, so we're gonna move right to Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Ferris.
Thank you, everybody. We're just gonna take 30 more seconds so we can clear out the back and then we'll restart this. All right.
Everybody wants to move up?
Hey, don't be shy. If you're staying, come on up. We've got plenty of room. Okay, 24 more seconds. Almost. All right, I want to thank everyone who stayed. I do think we have a very exciting agenda for the evening, and I'm really excited about it. But the first part of that agenda is hearing from some of our students. In fact, one of the first students I met here in Sayville back in the summer was a student who came to do one of our focus groups, just learning about the district, and I got the opportunity to meet him. He was recently quoted in the newspaper, and our Board of Education said, "Hey, we'd really love to hear from this kid. So can you bring him in?" And luckily I saw him in the hallway at the high school the other day and he was happy to join me. So I'd like to bring up Michael Keener, if you could just come to the podium and I'll just explain what you're going to be doing. And we can give him a hand. So Michael, one of the things that you were talking about in your quote in the article was stress for high school students. But I also know you've been involved in a lot of really wonderful activities here in the Sayville schools since the beginning of the year, because I've seen you in almost every activity. Could you share a little bit with the board, and we could maybe just turn the mic, the whole, you could turn the whole podium towards the board so you can see them. Not the whole podium, just grab the corners and. Or do that. That's brilliant.
Freestyle.
That's called innovation. All right. So anyway, Michael, share a little bit about some of the experiences you had from the beginning of the year, just getting involved with clubs and activities, but then also the quote that you talked about with stress and how that kind of is affect. That's what the board really wanted to hear about, like just how that affects your high school experience.
Junior year was lots of stress, including these all of that, so it was very busy. Now, I knew the number one priority was to get involved with my extracurricular activities, and I just wanted to shout out my mother for really getting in a lot of what you get to do with these various clubs. Currently I am involved with the community service involved Roland John Society, the president of high school's global affairs club, working with the environmental club, being a part of leadership programs to help middle school and elementary schoolers to open themselves up, as well as getting from here on. I started my own club with one social group at high school named Unified Youth Club. What we aimed for this club to be is sort of bring high schoolers together. I think that some students here and even some parents out here, we've all had this feeling of loneliness sometimes, and that we have nowhere to go. And what I wanted to try to do with this club is to find some circle that everybody might see each other. We do activities, we have like board games, we have these little like activities outside, we play sports, we just bring everybody together. This is because going into my next subject. Without any of these activities, and sometimes it leads to stress. And for me, I've actually been having a rough week, and I sometimes let people get it. And I always feel deep inside that I unfortunately cannot let these people get it. We all have to rise above. I will say that the parents that when you gave me that little thing about, hey, come down here to junior high school, give a little speech. I was like, got me time. I just see if you get all yeah. I think the people that are here now because people are, oh, it's one back. Come on, guys, say, you know what I mean? And you know, I was about it Tuesday, and I was about this article about New Year's resolutions. And one of my things I know I stated was, you know, communication. For me, I feel like communication is the very big thing, especially, you know, I have friends that are very frustrated with their own grades. They get stressed from what to do with specific subjects. And they'll really take a step forward. You know, I feel like if you take a step forward, you can make a difference in yourself and for your peers. Sorry, it's not a little, excuse me, you know. And I feel like if you just don't take a step forward, it just makes more sense at late time. And, you know, I'm sorry, going on a tangent here, but, I think just stepping there, and just trying to give it your all. That's why I try focusing on this article, and I hope that you all understand here as I am, saying it, and, I will believe in it a little bit, but, so,
You're doing a great job.
thanks. You know, I'm not one to make speeches, but I just want to come up here and once again, thank you for more than thank you for listening. Really appreciate it.
And I know sometimes, Michael, you feel stressed, but I also think that you find a way to de-stress by helping others, and that's an important thing.
Yeah, you know, I think even at me, sir, I think for all students, even parents, you know, teachers.
Yes, sir.
We can all help each other. We can go to school as a community, as a town. We can all come together. We can make each other happy. We can. We're gonna get all this set of stuff.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, next up from our Principals Advisory Committee, we have a
I
report.
just want
I'm
to
sorry.
say, thank you very much for coming up, because I know that's a challenge to speak in public. And I want to thank you for creating the club that you did, because in my philosophy, it's all about engagement and about getting other people involved. That's the key to making our community successful. So thank you very much.
Well said. Now we next have our next report from the students at the high school would be Bobby Zane and Jacqueline Wetson. Come on down.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to just thank the Board of Education, Dr. Harris, and Mr. Hoff, for being here. So basically, what's been going on in high school is a lot of the things going on. I said like the things we talked about at the board meeting, fixing the bathroom situations. That was definitely next, like all the schools and stuff are all good. Like the bells are honestly they're pretty good now. Like I know it's good door. So that's very great thing for our high school. I know one of the big things coming up is the post-event program going on for the homerooms. Very excited for that. It's going to give us a chance to like sit back and talk about other things just from academic, rather than just academics, or even the test studying. That's something to be excited about. A few things just to point out, minor issues. I think maybe like just looking at like taking a moment to just like look at the school lunches like lately. I mean, it's kind of like they have like pizza on a Monday and it's like reheated, so they have a week. I mean, maybe just like that's like something standing like a couple options or something. I know they had like ramen chicken one time, maybe just like more healthy options, something just like bring a little variety into it. And I know a big thing will also be homework, so maybe just somehow being able to work in more at nights. And also, it's a lot of clients. I know it's difficult, like you can't have a high school without homework. I'm not saying get rid of it completely, but just, sometimes it can be like workload to be up to 3 hours. And you come to school like tired the next day, it's like how you're supposed to learn a little bit, and you're like already checked in for last night you were at home. But that's pretty much it. Jackie has a lot of information about that, so I'm going to go ahead and take that.
Good evening, everyone. So my topics tonight are going to be about the homework and communication. For thoughts. Homework does have benefits, but given in fair amounts. And personally, the thought of figuring on this, homework can be ridiculous sometimes, and the amount of sense given can be very excessive. And it can have sacrifices, and what I mean by sacrifices is in our sacrificing our sleep, sacrificing our health, getting home, staying up, worrying about our tests, studies, our grades, and how it can affect us in the future and in college as well. I took the liberty of doing some research of how excessive homework can affect us. And according to a survey administered by the CDC, in 2019, 37% of high school students said that they experienced bad or hopelessness, and 19% reported suicidal thoughts or actions and excessive amounts of homework. I think reduced homework can be beneficial in that it creates more of a relationship between the student and the teacher, finding a happy medium. And with less homework, it finds more downtime, less stress, more time to spend with family and with friends, and to find other hobbies as well, rather than just going home and being a robot through homework and studying. Another thing I would like to address is better communication throughout school. There have been miscommunications or not enough communication about plays, musicals, clubs, getting enough help for funding, raising awareness and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of the information is based on social media. I don't understand why there can be a better relationship with school, with parents via email or letters or flyers, that way everyone can be involved and help the community as one. Yes.
With the homework, is it one particular class or subject, or is it the alignment of all the classes?
It's the alignment, and I think alignment because we have 9 classes.
I was more depends on just what kind of classes and it's going into an AP class, you know, you're gonna have an increased amount of homework, you should be gonna be expected that, but I mean, it's more just, it kind of boils down to sometimes just depending on the teacher. You in certain classes, you can have them, the worksheet, you know, people deal, and sometimes it could be like 5 pages, do like 2 days from now.
So it's a combination.
It can be, yeah, it's a combination of things.
And with kids being involved in extracurricular activities for the audience here earlier involved in sports, that takes a lot of time and energy. Their main focus is with their sport, but when they come home and they're tired, they have to make a tough decision between do I do homework or do I go to sleep? And that can really be detrimental.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you. And, I just want to say to you guys, one of the things that's really nice is we just gave that student survey to about 675 plus students, and the themes that you brought up kind of come out throughout that. So now it's a matter of sharing that with our faculty and talking about like, how do we want to handle this and what do we want to work towards? As you said, we're not going to eliminate homework, but we can certainly coordinate, streamline, and make it efficient.
Yeah, reduce it to their.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I want to thank our student speakers and then just kind of talk a little bit about what's going on around the district. You know, we've been doing this 100 Days of Learning study. I want to thank the teachers, staff, and parents who have been involved. The photograph you see up there is our parent focus group analysts, and they're going through the transcripts of the focus groups that they did. We ran about 11 parent focus groups. About 57 parents participated. We've also run focus groups at each school in the district, the high school, middle school, and elementary schools with over 100+ staff members participating totally. And our goal is really to collect information, just like with the student surveys. We did staff surveys, we did parent surveys, look at the common themes and trends that are coming up, and then work with our staff together and our principals to identify what are the common themes and what are our goals going to be moving forward to address those things so that we can enhance what is already an outstanding and wonderful education for our students. So that's the goal. Just to go over the timeline, we designed this project in October and November. We ran the surveys and focus groups in December. Some are still running now. We're analyzing that data in December and February. And then we hope to have a report to the Board of Education by March. This date keeps on getting pushed a little bit forward because it's just a lot of data. As I said, we had about 530 parent surveys, 57+ parents in the focus group, 190 staff member surveys, and over 100 staff focus groups. So we're taking all that data, and it takes time to analyze, to summarize, synthesize, and then kind of put a report together for the board. At this time, are there any questions about the 100 days of learning or comments that the board would like to make?
I'm just looking forward to that. I'll get the results.
Yeah. So it's really, I get to have the inside look. I see all this stuff and it's exciting. I can't wait to share it. In terms of what's coming next, so we're going to be looking at the budget process, and starting next month, we're going to be starting the process of proposing a budget to you. So we just wanted to kind of go over, and I want to thank Dr. Gerges for putting these slides together and for putting this information together. Our budget and what our tax cap is based on an allowable tax levy growth factor. And so for the 23-24 school year, the tax base growth factor is 0.010021. That gets kind of calculated with the tax levy growth factor that's based on the average annual consumer price index, which was 6.5% in December. Last year, the allowable tax levy growth factor was 2%. And this year, as Dr. Gerges has calculated, we're looking close to 1.87% as a tax cap. That could be affected up or down depending on the final state aid numbers that we get in terms of foundation aid, building aid, and other factors related to that, as well as our debt service. But that's about the ballpark of where we're going to be. By law, as everyone knows, it has to be the lesser of 2% or the rate of inflation. So that is the 1.87 we're looking at. We are looking at a challenging budget year. In fact, our tax levy limit preliminary calculations look something like this. Our increase for the 23-24 school year, if we go to the cap, which we would like to be under the cap, would be $63,038,044. Compared to the year before, that was $61,883,366. So if we were to go to the cap, which again, we try to be under the cap, it would be about $1,154,678. Just as an example of why this is going to be a challenging year, the healthcare increase alone, which we have no control over, is going to be about a budget increase of 1.167208. So without doing anything to any of our programs, without adjusting for inflation, the cost of electric, the cost of gas, heating, or any other factors, just the healthcare alone is already $12,000 negative before we even look at anything in the budget. So the reason I'm painting this picture is that it is going to be a challenging year. That being said, we are going to work as hard as we can, and I want to compliment Dr. Gerges and the building principals and the directors and the chair people as they've been coming to budget meetings. We've been cutting in areas that we felt we could live with. We've been adding in areas that we feel we need to try to get to you a budget that is going to be at the cap. But what we're going to be presenting to you next month is a budget that's slightly over the cap. We're not asking you to pass that budget. We know we're not going to do that, but we want you to look at a couple of options in terms of the programming that we want to try to get into our budget, and then we're going to pull back and be under the cap. So here's some of the kind of instructional items that we're really looking to implement in these schools for next year. First and foremost, and this is in order of priority, based on the survey work that the teachers did, the principals did with us, parent feedback, we have a section on finances, and we take feedback, but also we did surveys and discussions with faculty at the beginning of the school year. So the first item that we really want to address is full day co-teaching at the elementary schools. And the reason that we really feel strongly about this one being at the forefront is that we truly and deeply believe in co-teaching. We believe in both the special education teacher and the general education teacher being equal partners in the education of the 20 so students in the room. And so if we deeply believe that, philosophically, then both teachers need to be in the room the entire time so they can truly co-teach. So that is kind of trying to align our philosophy with our actions. And so that's the first item on the list. The second item on the list is RTI or AIS math and reading support enhancements in grades K through 5. And again, the reading is we're looking at our data from our reading and writing scores and our reading and writing data, as well as our math data from the elementary schools. We've talked to the teachers quite a bit. And there's a real feeling that, especially after COVID, where we've had gaps of kids being in the classroom, a lot of remote teaching or home learning when the schools were closed down, that especially at the early elementary, the K-1-2, there's been a kind of an area of need at the elementary schools. So we're going to be asking you to put in reading support and math support. But we're not just asking you to add support in the number of teachers. We want to really redesign and work with the teachers to redesign our RTI process and our AIS process, because the research is quite clear. When you address issues with students in K-1-2 in early childhood, in terms of reading, math, and writing, it reduces the struggles they have later. And it also reduces the number of need for or the push towards classification and special education. So that's been kind of a stress point with our staff, and that's come up quite a bit. And we feel very strongly that if we add this approach, as well as staffing to support that approach, it'll impact the needs of our students in reading, writing, and math. Because we, again, want every single student, and this is what we aim for, leaving elementary school on grade level or above in math and reading and literacy. We also want to look at some STEM enrichment programming. Now, again, the further we get down the list, the further it's going to be decision-making that we may or may not be able to do. But we really feel strongly that science instruction, engineering, technology, robotics is lacking in our elementary schools right now. The research is clear again, when you want to get kids involved in engineering and technology and science, you need to start early and get them engaged and excited. It also provides enrichment opportunities for students. We've had comments and feedback from the parent surveys as well as the teacher surveys about enhancing our enrichment programs for our gifted and talented students. So we feel that there'll be some way to suggest some staffing to you that will increase our STEM, science, engineering, mathematics, technology, robotics, coding in the elementary schools. Another research piece that's very clear is there's a significant reduction of female engineers in the world. And a lot of males go into the field. And so the research says that if you start early in elementary school, it increases the ability of your female students to get excited about and interested in the engineering field. And that's an area we want to really focus on. Another area that came up was foreign language programming in the elementary school. So we're going to be giving you a presentation in February about what it would look like if we started in kindergarten and worked our way up from kindergarten through 5th grade in terms of our foreign language program. So our proposal will be to do for next year kindergarten, but then that would be a 5-year commitment to enhance every year after 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, at least 2 times a week for students in those grades. And then we would have to look at our middle school program, because if we're doing that work over 5 years in the elementary program, our students will be ready for more foreign language in 6th and 7th grade. So we would work down from 6th grade down to 5th and work from kindergarten up to 5th to meet in the middle and have a nice K-12 foreign language program. So that will be in the items presented. And also we're looking at the middle school and high school lighting for the theaters. The theaters are beautiful spaces, but the lighting in the middle school is needing a lot of help and support, as well as the high school. So these are items we want to look at. And finally, instructional spaces enhancements for K-12. This would be looking at our science labs, looking at our STEAM spaces in the elementary schools, and looking at opportunities to provide teachers with flexible seating arrangements in their classrooms so they could meet the wide range of needs in their schools. As I said, these are all going to be presented to you. Not all of these things will be able to be in our budget for next year. They will probably be part of our 5-year plan, but I think it's important for the board to have a public discussion about these items so that we could really talk about them, identify your priorities with the knowledge of the surveys that we'll give you before we make decisions for our upcoming budget. So just want to get some feedback from you on this approach. It's a little bit different than in the past, but I think it's one that will focus us on the instructional needs that our teachers, principals, community members have kind of pointed out as areas we need to focus.
Hey. That's it.
And that's basically my report. And if you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to talk about that.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. Next item on our agenda is Board of Education discussion. We have 4 items, maybe 5 items. The first one on the New York State economic meeting, which is going to be actually So I'm sorry, we have a couple different, we have the State of the Economy, National Suffolk School Boards is hosting a forum with Thomas Napoli, and those who do not know who Thomas Napoli is, he's our state controller. The meeting is held by National Suffolk School Boards, and it's gonna be on Thursday, January 26th, from 6:30 to 9:30. So any board member who wishes to attend, please attend. I plan on speaking to the controller about, and we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, about tan barring and the ability to do it or not do it, and some possible legislation to allow us to use our own money instead of borrowing money from a bonding company, which can be quite expensive during a period of high interest rates. So we currently spend considerable sum of money borrowing money that we have to wait for to get from the county and the town. So we spent approximately $350,000, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Gerges, this year to borrow money. But I would like to be able to use some of the money that we have, since if we have the appropriate amount of cash flow, we could use it and save a considerable sum of money.
John, where is this meeting?
It's on the 26th. It's at Hilton, Long Island.
Okay.
I will be attending along with,
I just mentioned, I just want to acknowledge John for being very persistent on this topic, because he's looking at making a cost savings.
Hmm.
So rather than borrow money and pay interest, we would use our own funds to satisfy a debt. I appreciate it, you advocate.
thank you. And there is proposed legislation from National Suffolk School Boards that we're proposing, and we're proposing it up in Albany shortly. There's a virtual conference, and there's also a day-in meeting conference, to try to get a bill passed that we could use our own money, which makes sense to me. So it's as well as the state association is also pushing that forward.
John, does anybody have a question, the unfunded mandates, things that are mandated that we don't get paid for?
Every time. There's
That's a tremendous amount of money that we could.
And
use.
and just so you know, National Suffolk School Boards Association has other proposed legislation telling Albany to say that any bill you propose, any new mandate you propose, you need to tell the school boards in the next fiscal year, so we could properly fund for it. What the state has done in years past, next week they could pass a mandate that we have to do a certain thing that's costly, and we have already budgeted. And also they need to put the cost to any proposed mandate as well. As other legislation that's being proposed.
If you look at the percentage of money that we have received from the state now compared to 20 years ago, percentage wise, it's much less. It's much less.
And there's been tremendous amount of studies done. I think years past, we received considerably more. I think we've probably lost state funding of anywhere from like 25 to 30% from years past. I think the governor's going to put her budget up, I think Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. If there's any, I'm not exactly sure of the date, but I can find out. Next item is Longwood Regional Breakfast is February 4th. Again, it's always a great time to meet with all our new legislators, as well as some of the more senior members on the island.
Who's committed to going?
I'm committed to going.
What?
I'm going.
Yeah, are you? I think I'm gonna go, yes. Okay. I'm gonna try and go.
I know we have limited seats at
I
our
don't know.
table.
Are you following? Get me? I said yes.
And that's always a good meeting, also as well. At that meeting, you know, Bosi is going to probably present or do a presentation on the state of the island as far as education. The fourth item is the claims order report. Tom, you want to speak to that? I did skip over one. I skipped over for a reason.
Yeah, everything's in order with that. There was just, 2 claims that were out of order and they were correct.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is that we spoke at our last board meeting about sending a letter to Albany regarding the COVID vaccine. The board has looked at 3 or 4 different versions of the letter. We do have a draft of a letter that we would like to send. I think the board has reviewed it, the last version.
I think it should end at vaccine, the second paragraph.
Right.
Period.
On
Okay.
Tom's handwritten note.
Yes.
You didn't like my handwriting?
No, I can read your handwriting, I think it should end there.
That
Okay.
is too tall.
I mean, that's fine too. Is that okay? Do you want me to read the letter?
So is the board in favor of this modified version of the?
I gotta say, I didn't get to speak last week. I did come here against writing this letter. I think it's unnecessary. I think that people need to understand that this was a bill that was put forward. It's one of thousands of bills that get put forward, and it was sent back to committee, which means the state assembly and senate are not even gonna vote on it, not gonna be presented to the governor for a final vote. So, this letter is absolutely unnecessary, but I do understand, listening to my board colleagues, that we've spent enough time on this, and since this letter has very little effect, that we just want to put it to bed and continue to move on. So with the new wording that we have here, I can support that.
Okay, good.
All right. I'm gonna read the letter, proposed letter. I'm gonna try to get through your new writing, unless you want to read it. No, I'll start with the printed version, okay? The Sayville Board of Education places the health and well-being of our students at the forefront of our policy and decision-making. We know from our collective years of experience as educators, board members, and lifelong students in the field of education that when students feel safe and cared for and supported in the classroom, they are more likely to engage in meaningful learning that results in high achievement. Further, when our parents feel that we are advocating for supporting their children, it leads to greater trust and participation as members of our learning community. With that,
With that in mind,
there you go. Sorry.
as,
Tom, you can
as a
continue.
Board of Ed, we support the legislature's decision not to put forward a bill mandating the COVID-19 vaccine. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Board of Education. All right, so I think the board has consensus to send a letter. All right, we can send a letter.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll retype it.
Okay. And we're not gonna have Tom, the handwriting letters always get a lot of attention,
You want a handwritten?
but I see Tom's handwriting. I think we should type it.
Well, you didn't give me any time.
I didn't give you any time. Okay. Thank you, board. Any other board discussion? Being there's no board discussion, I would like to open up the public session. Is anyone wishing to speak tonight? And we have one person. Anyone else?
One in the back.
Not one of them.
I see a hand back there. Okay. Hold on one second. I'm gonna read my statement if you don't mind. The Board of Education administrators listen carefully to what members of our community have to say. We follow regulations specified by law and policy as we encourage our community members to offer public comment at Board of Education meetings. The Board of Education requests that anyone who participates in public session demonstrate civility as they address the board and community. Board of Education meetings are held in public view, giving the public opportunity to watch, listen to proceedings of the board. In these meetings, district staff updates the boards on matters pertaining to the school district. The board may be required to take action on matters related to district operations. Board Policy 1230 provides the opportunity for a period of public comment during these meetings. With that in mind, we offer a brief word on the parameters of the public comment period. 30 minutes have been set aside for comments and questions by the public before the board agenda is moved. The board reserves the right to limit participation in any given case with the extent the maximum comment period is deemed necessary. Questions and comments by the public are limited to 3 minutes per person. Speakers are asked to identify themselves and or the groups they represent. Speakers should conduct themselves in a civil manner and direct their comments to the board. The board, it will not be permitted discussion involving individual district personnel, students, or community members. Thank you. Can the person please, can you kindly step up to the podium, please? Anyone who wishes to speak?
Long walk.
All right, I'm just gonna do what I usually do, which is talk about everything I heard today. I thought the first one when I spoke, I know speaking is hard for a lot of people, especially in this type of situation, so I thought it was, you were incredibly great. Get up here and speak about what we spoke about, and obviously that they touched on topics that are very important and pertinent to society, especially today. So, I thought the girl that spoke about homework, that's a different kind of prayer, because get up here in front of the Board of Education, where there's teachers and educators alike, and speak on it. Also, takes a level of bravery. I will say that as a fifth grade teacher, I haven't given homework for 2 years. I do not believe in at the elementary level. However, I do feel it has its place as kids get older. Just, to put back off of what she said. She is correct that there are countless and numerous studies that show overwhelming benefits of so show you guys. The RTI AIS is something I actually did have a question about. If we're looking to implement RTI and AIS services in elementary, what are we doing right now currently to target those children at the elementary level? Obviously are not
getting special ed services, what may need that.
Mr.
I'll answer all your
I'm
questions at
sorry.
the end. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you to finish your statement and we'll get back to your answer. Sure.
Oh, sure. And the last thing is, I do believe it was 100% necessary to set that. I know, Christine had said that it wasn't necessary. I think they nailed it. Whoever was the author, I don't know if it was Tom Fuller, what you guys did, group effort. I think it does, I think it does show that you're listening to the community. And, you know, the way you worded it, I thought was very well done. So as a member, I appreciate that, especially after being at the last meeting, was a little contentious, and I know you guys were split. So I applaud you guys on that, come together. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Okay, I didn't raise my hand before.
That's all right.
John Raymond, parent two, so my voice carried a little weight. Thanks for, posting the letter. I think the thrust is good. I want to convey my strong opposition to any mandatory investigation on mRNA gene therapy for kids. The evidence is clear now. Maybe it wasn't a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, but it's clear. So I'm glad we have the majority of the board. Glad the letter's going forward. Glad we have to respond as a community. There is a wealth of data pointing to the ineffectiveness and in fact dangers to healthy people under 50, but especially young males. We're all aware of this. We know this dreaded myocarditis. Some people say, well, how do you know it's not simply getting the COVID? Right? That's what started. That's what started in early 2020. It was COVID. How can you distinguish COVID versus the vaccine effect? Root cause unknown right now. He's a former BlackRock executive. He's a numbers guy. He lives a great life in Hawaii and very active on this issue. This is passion. He's written a wonderful book called Cause Unknown. Let me just take one little piece from this, just to give you a sense. Prior to January of 21, remember the COVID vaccine began in December of 2020 for the privileged people, doctors and others. Up until that period, up until January of 21, for many years, the number of cardiac arrests among young athletes, that's the cohort, was 25 to 30 per year. Highly consistent, amazingly consistent. Okay. And it was in fact 29 in the year 2020. Yeah, that was the number. Let's look at the period from January of 21 through the end of 22, just this past month, that 2-year period. The number went up to 1,598 young athletes experiencing cardiac arrest. Okay. So let's think about that. All throughout 2020, when millions of young people had been vaccinated, the rate did not budge. I'm sorry. Then with the vaccination, starting in January 21, the rate skyrocketed. The math shows a factor of 28 in terms of cardiac arrest among young, healthy athletes. By definition, that's all I wanted to say. I'm very glad you put the letter, a little piece of data to back it up. And I think many parents would say they're very pleased.
Thank you. Next, please. Can we get, no, can I get you the mic? We'll get you the mic.
Wayne, can you bring in the mic?
I know you.
Oh,
No, we can get you the mic. Go ahead, please.
I assumed school was open on Monday. That was National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Did the district do anything for the students on that day? That's question 1. 2, the staff member's name is still in the minutes. Are you corrected? This is not numbers. I say it correctly, no, I apologize. There were complimentary comments that were made in the minutes. But we're not supposed to say staff members' names at meetings, so I don't understand why that's still in there. Unless, of course, we can comment negatively on staff members that minutes too. Also, another question, was her position posted for other staff members to apply? was a survey sent out, parents who previously had students in the district or residents who don't have students because a parent sent me the survey and it said a letter would go out to people like me. I didn't get one, I asked for a copy. And I wasn't going to say anything, I was going to wait for the next meeting, but that presentation on the budget amount, on just the property tax paying portion was extremely misleading. I think we need to be transparent and increase spending overall. Last year it was 2.3 million to be approved. On top of additional federal funds, the residents increase was 1.72, but businesses got increased 10%. That needs to be made public and disclosed in the presentation, the non-homestead fees. Yeah, because it's that would be different. Businesses have property and they got a 10% tax increase on commercial properties. Please disclose that, that's what I'm asking you about, so it's a community's aware. So if products more, they don't complain that the layout. And they know where it stands, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm just going to answer a couple of the questions in the order they were given. So for the first question about the RTI and the AIS question, we do have RTI programming and AIS programming currently in place. So we have progress monitoring that takes place for students, both because that's the law, you have to do that. So 3 times a year, our students take the iReady assessment in math and in reading. We use those assessments in conjunction with other assessments like running records from the reading and writing workshop, teacher anecdotal notes, as well as the foundations assessments in K through 2. And we use that during data days, which take place every couple of weeks at the elementary schools to identify students who are both doing well, students who are kind of in a middle range, and students who are struggling. And we use that data to then put students into tier 2 support, try strategies with those students. And then after, if it goes well, that's great. If it doesn't go well, add tier 3 support. The current structure has that, but what we want to do is enhance that. We want to put more staffing to support more daily contact with students in the K-1-2, because we know that that's the area where if you focus a lot of attention, you won't have as many problems in the grades 3, 4, 5. So it's not that we don't have these things in place. It's simply a redesign to enhance and do research-based approaches to supporting those younger grades. Great. I will check into the what if anything was done on Monday. In terms of the position, I think there's some things that you're posting on social media that are inaccurate. And what I'd like you to ask you to do, yeah, you are posting things on social media that are inaccurate. I think one of the things that you can do is call me and I'll give you all the information that you need. It's okay. Let me answer your question. So first of all, no new positions were created, and that's why no positions were posted. Mrs. Macris's position was the Director of Student Services, and that was misleading people because people keep thinking, and there's a reason, because people on social media are posting this information. I'm answering the question. Thank you. So can I answer my question? Okay. So basically, people are being confused because of a lot of misleading statements on social media about what Ms. Macris does. She's not the director of the SAL programs. Social emotional learning is a component of our school district that kind of is embedded K through 12. What Ms. Macris's job is to manage 4 different departments in the district. One is the special ed department, one is the guidance department, one is the social emotional learning program, and of course, Strides is a part of that. But people were not understanding that. So what we did is we changed the title from Director of Student Services to Assistant Superintendent for PPS, which better reflects what she does. There was no new position, there was no new funding. It was simply a change of title so that she could best reflect what she does for the school district. And I want to make that clear. I think one of the things I'd like to encourage all parents to do is if they have a question about positions or administration or teaching positions, call the office, ask questions, we'll give you the right information, and then you can take that information and post it anywhere online that you're situated. Okay.
Very more.
Okay. Thank you. And finally, I think that was the answer to all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ferris. Next item on the agenda, further, there's no one else who wishes to speak.
Oh, wait, just for clarity, tax rate.
Oh,
fully
yes.
Disclosed during the budget process.
Yeah, I want to make it clear that what I showed on the slide was not the tax, was not the budget presentation. It was a precursor painting a brief picture of what the budget picture was looking like. And we will give every detail. Dr. Gerges will give a big presentation with every number and every detail. wanted to forego, a more thorough presentation tonight because we're not actually presenting the budget. I'm just giving a precursor to what we're going to be looking at in the future. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
if you don't mind, please.
Take longer to walk there than ask the question.
Oh, sorry.
You could have asked from there.
A quick question, to go back to the budget, regarding the $1,000,001 increase in teacher health. Is the district ever going to ask the students to contribute more as the rest of the country contributes more to our healthcare every year? Whatever was that number?
Yes.
Is that the teachers, the increase to the district to fund teacher healthcare? When is the district gonna go to the teachers and the teachers union and everyone else involved? Hey, you know what? You guys have been paying $100 a week forever. How about 150? How about 200? Because the rest of the world generally pays significantly more in health insurance than the teachers in this district.
We'll go with it. We're gonna go into
Thank you.
detail on that in the budget, but I just also want to add, the numbers you use for how much they pay in is way lower than what they actually pay in. And, they have an agreement that lasts a certain amount of years, and when that agreement comes up, then those things can be discussed.
Thank you.
And as an educator, I can say our premiums have gone up significantly over the past.
Understood, understood. Let's move on.
No, I'm trying to refute what you were saying. What you were saying wasn't true.
Okay.
And when
Okay,
this truth was put out to the public, that becomes truth in the absence of actual facts. So I just want to.
Okay, and I'm gladly appreciate the opportunity to look at a healthcare contract between the school and the union and the individual employee contribution. And compare that to 5 companies on Long Island and see where this district stands in regards to how much their employees pay versus other employees at the Sayville factory, the Best Buy, the Stop and Shop. How much they contribute into their numbers. See if we are in fact overcoming the teaching.
Keeping in mind, we are the public sector and we're referring to the private sector, so we always try to make an apples to apples comparison. It's difficult in that circumstance, but we will do our best. And I'm a taxpayer too, and I don't enjoy my taxes going up, so I can assure you, we're always looking to save as much money as possible while trying to maximize the educational experience of the students.
Thank you for your question. Again, thank you for your
Just wanna
question.
say, I was a finance person for a company that had 3,000 employees, and for our basic health insurance, our employees paid nothing. Okay, so,
But that is ownership of that company's decision. And you guys as a whole, community, as a taxpayer,
That's true.
please have your questions, answer them truthfully and honestly.
you brought up the private sector.
and
Okay.
negotiate a good thing.
I think we will be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda. Approval of minutes 7-1. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Without objection, can I call 8-1 to 10-3?
Actually, can I just make a comment before we approve, is that all right?
No, well, discussion.
Yeah, just,
What line?
okay, sure. Just 9-1.
No, okay. We have a discussion on 9-1, please.
Not even a discussion, just a few. Tonight was an amazing tribute to the accomplishments of our fall coaches, of our student athletes, of those families, of Dr. Cox. And I don't think there's any mystery to the formula. It comes down to hard work. It comes down to building a family atmosphere. And I just want to say, we're going to approve the spring coaches tonight. We look forward to continued success. And again, Dr. Cox doing an amazing job of making sure we're focusing on hard work and family across all sports. And again, it was very evident how successful we were in the fall, and we expect nothing but the same in the springtime. So.
Thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Any other discussion? I'm sorry. 808?
Yeah, I just wanted to, just bring attention to this because we received a donation from the Condon Family Foundation. $5,000.
Great.
to the, Sandy Dig, I can't say the last name, D. Gillian Nursing Scholarship. I thought that was really nice.
Very much.
Really nice. Thank you. That's it.
I can't see anybody else. Okay, recommended action, again, I'm gonna call 8-1 to 10-3 without objection. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? Motion's carried. Thank you. Then we got to vote, right? Can we vote?
All those-
All those in favor? There, I skip right over everything, right? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. 11-1, upcoming dates. Let's take a look. January 18th, middle school winter concert, always great. January 19th, 20, and 21, school winter drama. It's always going to be a good one. Read the whole list. January 26th. Middle school winter concert, February 1st, all district strings night, February 2nd, Board of Education, and February 9th, Board of Education meeting. I don't know if we need a motion for that. We really don't need a motion for that. And I need a motion to the executive session to continue our discussion from earlier before. Motion, please.
Motion, please.
Second, discussion. Okay, wow, guys, we'll see you. Thanks for coming. Be safe. Stay dry.